So let's say back in the day, if I didn't have a massive data team and a $500,000 a year budget, I would have to go download Excel files from each of those different disparate data sources from MailChimps and CRMs and whatever. And then I would have to combine them somehow, right? So I'd say, all right, everyone has a unique email address. I'm going to combine all these Google Sheets or Excel files. I want one row to have an email address, and then I want every other column that comes after it to render from each one of these data sources. That's a really hard project.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Grow IT podcast. One of your hosts here, Trey King. And today we are very excited to have our guest, Kate Rikkers from Pliable. And we'll be diving into her story a little bit today, as well as what it is that her company does. And then, as always, some engaging insights into the technology industry. So make sure to stick around for this one. But without further ado, Kate, welcome. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thanks for having me.
Kate, if we can kick things off, if you could kindly please just, introduce yourself and then just tell us a bit around your background, please.
Sure. I'm Kate, and I live in San Francisco. I'm from San Francisco. My background is not in data, actually. I came up through business operations and growth operations, and then into venture capital. And really, what I noticed through all these different pathways of my career was that anytime anybody wanted to do any type of analytics, or anytime anybody wanted to understand a little bit more about their business, it was sort of this two-pronged, it was always kind of a battle, right? Like I call it struggling in Excel or getting really good at Google Sheets and,
Right.
Googling how to build something in Google and in Google Sheets or Excel. And then there's what's interesting is I got to work for some larger companies. And we would hire big data teams, and we would throw together a $500,000 cost center in order to, actually funnel data into a data modeling system, and then model that data manually so that we could get to honest to God analytics. And we thought, that was always sort of something that bothered me. And so that's where I've landed in my career now. Is that's time for someone to fix that, and that's what Pliable does.
Excellent. Tell me, like you mentioned, you did not start out in this industry. So, what prompted you, or what sparked your initial interest that made you so passionate about what you're doing?
Great question. My co-founder is a data engineer by trade. And actually he was running sort of a data shop, right? So somebody who would get hired and paid hourly, or project-wise in order to solve someone's data needs or data problems. I was running a coupon company, and we had purchased other coupon companies. And so I had a big data problem. Someone on my cap table said, you need to talk to this guy. His name is Jason, and hire him, and he'll come solve your data problem. So 6 months and $800,000 later, he had indeed solved my data problem.
Awesome.
And he lives in Boston, and I flew him out to San Francisco because we sold part of the business to, he was here for the pitch. And, I was like, dude, I took him to a bar, and I was like, dude, why was that so expensive? And he was like, oh, because the modern data stack is these disparate companies that you have to stitch together. And so I need to hire engineers to do all that. I need to hire engineers to actually model your data so that you can get insights out of it. And I was like, okay, well, that all makes sense. And he said, I actually built a mini platform so I can hire junior data engineers, and they go through a really rigorous data operations process that the Fortune 500 companies get to leverage, but that 3% of the companies in the world can afford to do that. And so that's it. And so he showed me this little platform, and like I said, I have an equity research and venture capital background, and I was like, maybe we should start a company and take that platform to market. So we did, and we launched it about 18 months ago.
Excellent. I mean, you've got a wealth of expertise, obviously not just in this industry, but obviously previous ones as well. Based on your expertise, what are like the current market trends, coming back to this industry that you are aware of? Like, what way is the wind blowing these days?
People are calling it the AI era. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to call it is this, I'll call it like a wave of enablement. It feels like a lot of I always use, like, I always say we're building the Canva for analytics. And I can go in, I have zero prerequisites to be able to design anything, right? Not a website, not business cards, nothing. I'm not able to do that. I don't know anything about pixels and hex codes, etc. But Canva has enabled me to be able to go in and design things. I can design beer labels. I can design business cards. I can design my birthday cards for, birthday invitations for my toddlers. So they've really given, that wave of enablement. AI is, I think, starting to get there. I think there's a lot of empty promises in what AI can deliver right now, but I think that's the wave. That's the sentiment I'm feeling, is just, I don't want to have to hire a body to do something that I can't do. I want someone to create a software system that enables me to empower myself to get something done. And we're here to ride that wave.
Yeah. That's such an interesting take on it. Yeah, that's brilliant. Tell me, I think this is a good time, Kate, if you could kindly explain what it is specifically what your company does.
Absolutely. We are data modeling. We partner directly with large companies within the modern data stack, Snowflake primarily. So Snowflake is your data warehousing system. And so I always sort of say, like, they're the U-Haul of storage units, right? Like, everybody's using them, and they have a really wonderful customer-focused, customer-centric business model. So they really don't want to, they want to land and expand. They want the customer to understand how they can best use their storage facilities. And so in order to be able to use that storage really well, you have to be able to write SQL. You have to be able to write Python. And so what's happening is operators like me are like, okay, well, I want that. I want the best in class practices, but I don't want to have to hire a huge team to go model this data. So what we've built is a drag and drop data modeling platform. So we are because we know that data modeling, if you get all of your customers into one table if you've got customer data in your Stripe account and in your MailChimp and in your CRM and in your ERP, you're going to have to combine all those, and there's going to be duplicates. There's going to be Kate.Rikkers@hmail.com and Kate.Rikkers@gmail.com. So there's going to be all those things, and imagine that at scale. It's really, really hard for anybody to go in and have to write SQL queries and Python queries to really back that out, right? Make a clean, honest to God data set that you can use to do whatever you want to do, to enable your business intelligence, to enable analytics, to enable a sales team, to know where to spend your next marketing dollar, to know how to be able to wrangle your sales organization to actually sell the best thing that's selling in this region on these days and during this weather, right? Those are the kinds of things that you can start to put together if you have a data model that is clean and organized and consolidated and concise. And that's what we do. And we do that without the need for a data engineering team, period. So that's the foundational platform of Pliable, is data modeling for Snowflake users.
Actually, having said that, you've mentioned a lot of value points right there. And just out of your own words, what would you say is like the most significant value, that your company brings to the table?
It's definitely getting your data into a place, your company information. If you run a company, if you work at a company, there's a lot of information, and the bigger you get, it grows exponentially. That starts to become really hairy. We call it spaghetti, right? Like data spaghetti. So what we do is literally comb all that out so that it is very, very clear, concise, organized data points. So you can say, let's say you're combining, I just gave you that example of my customer. So let's say back in the day, if I didn't have a massive data team and a $500,000 a year budget, I would have to go download Excel files from each of those different disparate data sources, from MailChimps and CRMs and whatever. And then I would have to combine them somehow, right? So I'd say, all right, everyone has a unique email address. I'm going to combine all these Google Sheets or Excel files, and I want one row to have an email address, and then I want every other column that comes after it to render from each one of these data sources. That's a really hard project. So, and then tomorrow when you get new data, guess what? You have to do it all over again in that antiquated system. So we no longer, with Pliable, that's no longer needed. So you literally connect directly to your data sources. And then we say, oh, you want to essentially pivot on your email address. Great. Next, here's all the information you want on it. And then tomorrow, when you get new data into your data source, that's fine. It's set it and forget it. Your reports and your dashboards will be updated. So there's no need to like go back and reset the system. So what we're finding is that, and it's interesting, we love BI tools. We think that they are, and I have been an operator and marketer for many, many years. I have leveraged BI tools, right? So I'm talking like Looker, Tableau, Omni, which is new. There's a brand new one to market called Zing Data, which I highly recommend people take a look at. Those are systems where if you're in the pitch and you ask, all right, yes, this sounds great. I really want to be able to see and use my data in this BI tool. They'll tell you your time to market, as long as your data is in a good place, your time to market is 2 or 3 days. And that whole catch, as long as your data is in a good place, is what we call the secret cost of BI, because they're saying your data has to be in a good place. And nobody's data, unless you're the 3% of the companies in the world that can do that, nobody's data is in a good place.
Geez, that's what you just explained, what you guys, from a value standpoint, I can fully understand why you guys are so successful. I mean, that's top notch. Yeah, that's awesome. Kate, would like your opinion on, if you could maybe just step back a bit from just business in general. In your opinion, what type of mindset would you say is needed to be a successful founder of a company?
Type of mindset, flexible, and not egotistical. You're gonna, I've run a couple businesses, and you gotta be agile to try this and try that, and place a bet and place this bet and have an idea and run with it. But you also have to know when that idea didn't work, so that you can pivot and try something different. And I think those are the 2 big things: is do not have an ego about it, and to be flexible to be able to change your mind.
Right. And then, if you don't mind to add to that, we've got a lot of listeners that is, it may be that they might be in a company and they're wanting to, jump ship and go, be that entrepreneur and to go do their own thing. Or, even it's the young and up and coming entrepreneurs that's hitting that glass ceiling, right, of wanting to scale or even just stuck in a rut, right? Are there maybe like 1 or 2 things that you're willing to share of important things that you've learned up until now in your career?
Well, for companies that are venture backed, one thing I always remind my sort of fellow founder cohort of that do have venture capitalists on their cap table is that they want you to win. They want you to win. They've invested in you. They've invested in the founders. Most venture capitalists invest in the founders. And so they're like, can this team cut it? Right? Will they be able to be agile? Are they egotistical? Or are they onto something? So I would say that, right? These guys want you to win, and they talk to 1 million companies every single day, and they've been around a lot of these corners. And so there's a lot of, when it's easy as a founder, especially an early stage founder, that you're in the weeds, right? Your head's down in your work. And so my 2 pieces of advice would be, take a day a month to pick your head up, at least a day a month to pick your head up. What other acquisitions are happening in the space? Do I have new competitors in the space? What investors are investing in other companies? How do I differentiate from those companies? How do I change my message or my product, so that I make sure that I am carving the right path through this forest of companies?
The noise.
Right? And through the noise, exactly. And that's my first piece: is pick your head up from time to time and be like, all right, what we're doing still relevant? That's where we want to be? Is the path still there? Do we need to make a left and then a right? Right. So those are the things that's one thing that I didn't do early on, and I certainly make time to do now. And the other thing is if you're venture backed, or even if you're not venture backed and you have some like business advisors or people like that. Like I sit on a couple advisory boards for a lot of startups, and because I'm a touch point. They're like, we think we're going to do this. Does this make sense? Right. And getting that out of the weeds objective perspective from somebody who wants you to win, who cares about you as a founder, who cares about what you're doing as a business, and also is able to have that business know-how to say, oh, there's this new thing happening, or there was this new acquisition, or this company just IPO'd, that's going to change things, right?
Right.
So that's always, I think that's one thing that it's hard to do as a founder, because you have so much to do every day, but you have to make time for it.
Excellent. Well, those are a couple of good golden nuggets, right? I think there's a lot of people that's going to make notes when they listen to this podcast. Kate, before I let you go, if you don't, where can the listeners, where can they get hold of you guys?
My email is Kate, Kait @pliable.co. So they can get in touch with me there. Where my co-founder is Jason at pliable.co. He's a data engineer extraordinaire. So if anybody has any data questions or data problems,
Right.
he's the guy for you. He's a 10x engineer and a ridiculously smart data scientist.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yes, who can turn around and build a platform, essentially replacing himself out of the marketplace, right? So, just to enable other companies. So he's I think getting, or you can email contact@pliable.co, and it goes to all of us. So, that's how we can get in touch. And I'm in the Bay Area, and my co-founder's in Boston. So we're always at founders events and things like that. We'll be at all the tech weeks and things like that as well. So, and we'll be at the Snowflake conference for anybody who's at the Snowflake conference in June. We'll be at a booth.
Excellent. Thank you. Kate, thank you so much for coming on today. You provide such good, valuable insight. And,
Great.
like I earlier said, I can fully understand why you guys are so successful. All the best going forward, and hope to have you back on sometime. Thank you very
Would love
much.
that. Yeah, we'll stay in touch. Thanks so much.
Excellent. Take care.